On this week's KSP News Show, in a very special midweek episode, we talk about KSP coming to the PS4. That's right, you might have heard it here first on this week's KSP News Show. Reporting live from the Kerbal Space Center, it's your host, Jinli Kerman. Good morning, evening and afternoon, my fellow Kerbonauts. My name is Jinli Kerman. Welcome back to the KSP News Show. It's been a couple of weeks since I've made an episode because there hasn't been all that much KSP news with regards to actual development of 1.1 and the like, and the 1.0.3 patch and what have you. However, we have some amazing news at the moment. As you know, E3 is currently within session, and to get right on the hype train, MaxMaps has revealed that KSP will be coming to the PlayStation 4 console very soon. I don't know if that was just me, but I heard a couple of your jaws hitting the floor right then, either in anger or in amazement. I'll get onto my own personal opinions in a sec, but let me just give you a backstory as to how this news was revealed. MaxMaps on Twitter yesterday was watching the Sony conference, and he's put on Twitter, Sony LA conference in an hour. In the meantime, PC gaming yo, and then puts a link to the Twitch PC Gamer conference and convention. And then obviously there are a few more replies as per usual, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Then all of a sudden, about 13 hours ago as of recording this, on the 16th of July, around 7:05 PM GMT, he puts, open up another window, I would watch the PlayStation LATAM conference here, and puts a winky face next to the link to the actual PlayStation conference. And then finally, about, I don't know, about 20 minutes later, around that sort of time, he puts, yes, we are going to PS4. The KSP dev team then posted their weekly dev notes, which simply said, Dev Note Tuesday, a big announcement, followed by the picture of a Kerbal playing a PS4 on a floating TV around the moon in lunar orbit, and it says Kerbal Space Program coming to PlayStation 4. Now obviously at this announcement not everyone was happy. There are a couple of people saying that this might slow down PC development time and all that sort of stuff, which is completely understandable. You know, people love this game on PC, me included, and they wanted to know if this will actually affect anything with regards to development time for future updates on PC. But to solve that, MaxMaps had put on Twitter about 10 hours ago as of recording this, put a tweet saying, curious about what this means for PC players? Read away, followed by a link to a forum post, which is an FAQ regarding this new PS4 version of KSP. So I'm going to read out some of the questions for you now, just to put your guys' mind at rest if you think maybe perhaps Kerbal Space Program on the PS4 isn't really a decent way to go, shall we say. So let's get started with that. The first question in the FAQ says, why bring Kerbal Space Program to PS4? And the developers have replied with, as the fan base of our game has grown, we've received a constant influx of pokes and requests from people asking us to bring our game to PS4. With the power of the current generation PS4 and the flexibility and ease of use of the Unity engine, bringing KSP over to the PS4 is simply a no-brainer. Space is for everyone, regardless of how you prefer to play. Now I think that's a very legitimate point. Kerbal Space Program should be able to be enjoyed by everyone. It's a really brilliant game, and I'm sure all of you guys will agree with me on that one, that we all love Kerbal Space Program. Pretty much everyone who watches these videos on this channel, you're here because I do Kerbal Space Program content, and you're there because you love Kerbal Space Program and you want to see how other people enjoy the content. And I think that is a very legitimate statement to say that space is for everyone, regardless of how you prefer to play. One of the things that does sort of concern me though is that the PS4's hardware, both Xbox One and PS4, their hardware compared to even a medium spec PC nowadays is sort of lacking, only very slightly. I realise that they are of course better optimised for actual gaming when compared to other computers, actual PCs. Maybe I'm just being stupid, I don't know. But Kerbal Space Program at the moment does seem to run a little bit slowly, even on the higher end machines, especially when you're near terrain and you're playing on highest difficulty and graphics settings. So obviously this thing will have to be very well optimized, so this is clearly coming after the 1.1 update with the upgrade to Unity 5, because otherwise I can see PS4 struggling to actually handle Kerbal Space Program and the sheer amount of stuff it needs to load. But aside from that, I do think this is a very legitimate statement that Squad has made. Space is for everyone at the end of the day. Kerbal Space Program is a great way to educate particularly young people in the excitement of space exploration, and we all love that sort of feeling. We all got that feeling as a kid that we wanted to be astronauts at some point. I know I certainly did, and I'm sure a lot of you guys did. That's why you play Kerbal Space Program at the moment. And so by bringing it to the PS4, where there is perhaps a younger demographic of audience, I think that this might actually get more young people to be inspired to become astronauts and actually follow their dreams and do engineering, just like it's done on PC to a certain extent already. But yeah, moving on to the second question, it says, how will the game work on PS4? And the developers have replied with, that's another thing we had asked ourselves for quite a while and simply had to make a goal. We could simply not compromise on the player's experience. Thankfully, the PS4 controller has systems that make building and flying rockets just as easy and intuitive as the PC version. Now, initially, I didn't believe this at all. I looked at my controller, my Xbox One controller that I have, which is very similar to the PS4 controller in a lot of ways. Obviously it's slightly different, but it's very similar in a lot of ways. But if you think about it, Kerbal Space Program is a game that has a lot of buttons. Obviously there are the basic buttons and stuff like that, which can be replicated on a controller. I will admit that. You'll obviously have your left stick as your control of your craft, so your pitch, your yaw, and your roll. You'll have the right stick to control your camera. I'm guessing this is how it's going to work. And then you'll have the trigger buttons to control your throttle. I'm guessing that's probably the easiest way to actually make it work. And then you've got like the A button on Xbox and the cross button on PS4 to control your staging and stuff like that. But then I really couldn't see, because like action groups and stuff like that would still not be a thing, and it would have to be heavily modified, and that means that the player's experience would end up being compromised. I then realised, of course, that there is one key difference between the Xbox One and the PS4 controller. The PS4 controller has two touchpads. It has one on the front and then one on the back of the controller. Now this makes building, particularly building, so much easier, because it means you can simply click and drag parts on using the touchpad onto the screen. At least this is how I think it might work. You could simply click and drag parts onto the middle of the screen, which means that building would be one hell of a lot quicker. This could be one of the reasons why it's coming to PS4. It could also be that it's just been bought as an exclusive, which is kind of... I don't like console exclusive games. I think games should be, as they say for Kerbal Space Program, space is for everyone. And I think that statement can be extended to any sort of video game, not just space and Kerbal Space Program itself. I'm not really a fan of exclusive games, but then again, it could just be coming to PlayStation 4 because of the touchpad features on the console. Somehow I don't think that's entirely the case, but I do think that that has something to do with it. I still think though, regardless of the touchpad, that the experience, at least with control front, will be a little watered down. I just can't see how a controller with significantly less buttons when compared to a PC can have the same amount of controllability as a PC version. But who knows? Squad are good people, and I'm sure that they will be able to think of a way. They are very talented game designers, so who knows? They will probably be able to make it work somehow. We just don't know how that somehow will work yet. The third question says, how are you bringing Kerbal Space Program to PS4? They say, we've teamed up with Flying Tiger Entertainment to bring the game to PS4. They have experience and have shown us time and time again that they were simply the right choice to make, that players receive a quality game on the PS4 and not just a lazy port. Now, I did a little bit of research on Flying Tiger Entertainment, and they've had sort of a patched history by the sound of it. And even here in the comments of the forum, I will just read some of the comments for you guys. Someone says, is this the Flying Tiger Entertainment we're talking about, with a link to their official website? And then someone puts back as a reply, yes, yes it is. To which this guy replies, oh god, oh god. And these guys, by the looks of it, specialise in mobile gaming. Now, I don't know what to make of this. Like Squad say, I have every faith in Squad because they obviously love their game as much as we love the game. And so I have every faith in Squad that they can actually make this game work on PS4 and actually port safely. But I think they need to be careful with Flying Tiger. Like you say, they have experience, and that's definitely a good thing, and I'm not trying to write them off by any means. I just hope that the port does end up being a quality port and not just a buggy, lazy port like it could so easily be with companies that could be out just to make a quick buck, like a lot of mobile companies at the moment. Like I say, all of this remains to be seen yet. We haven't even got any gameplay yet. It's simply an announcement that it is coming to PS4. So who knows? I could be right, I could be wrong. All of this remains to be seen. The final Q&A question that comes up says, will this have a negative effect on the development of the PC version? And developers are quite clear when they say absolutely not. If anything, working in collaboration with Flying Tiger has helped us speed up processes like the Unity 5 upgrade, but in general the two will remain separate versions of the game, much like the educational version Teacher Gaming works on. Now I think this is a very smart move because I don't know if you guys all remember, but when Minecraft first came to the Xbox One, or the Xbox 360 as it was back in the day, Mojang got 4J Studios to work on the Minecraft games for the consoles. So both the PS3, PS4, Xbox One, Xbox 360 got those guys to work on it while they continued work on the PC version. Obviously there was still some kind of contact kept going because they eventually added in the original features that were added in by Mojang to the Minecraft full release. Obviously PC was ahead of the consoles in terms of updates by quite a long way in that case, whereas as far as I'm aware, Kerbal Space Program PC and Kerbal Space Program consoles will be getting like the 1.1 or 1.2 update round about the same sort of time, so they'll be starting off on a rather level playing field. If not, then they'll probably be just 1 or 2 updates behind the other. I actually think that this is a very good idea. Like I say, splitting the Kerbal Space Program development into 3 sort of separate companies. Obviously we've seen that this can work because obviously the Teacher Gaming version of Kerbal Space Program is already in play, and I think that if it was worked already, providing that the squad can handle the extra workload of having yet another like subcontractor making Kerbal Space Program, and for a pretty big platform as well I might add, then it should be alright. Like I say, Teacher Gaming has worked fine on the Kerbal Edu version. Like I say though, it is slightly harder to work on the PS4 version just because of that limited control network, shall we say. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. I want to know what you think about Kerbal Space Program coming to PS4. Like I say, I'm still pretty on the fence here. It's still very, very early to tell whether this is going to be a decent port or not, whether this is going to work at all, because, like I say, my only real concern about this, well, only 2 real concerns, are the performance of the PS4, which could be fixed with regards to the Unity 5 upgrade, which means that KSP will be getting a performance boost, a significant performance boost if the dev notes should be believed. And the other thing, and probably my biggest concern, is the whole control scheme. Like I say, Kerbal Space Program is a complex enough game on PC, and it has enough buttons to remember as it is. Like, I can't remember half of the buttons for EVA and gear. Half of the time I forget where the gear button is and stuff like that. And adding all of that onto a controller where there are significantly less buttons, I can't see that working. But I have every faith in Squad. Like I say, I have every faith in Flying Tiger Games, even if their history does seem to be a little bit patchwork. But we'll see how that tab pans out when we get some more information, hopefully later on this year. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of this. It was a bit of a shocker of a news. I did think I did sort of take me by surprise this morning. One of you guys did actually tell me, and I'm very happy because I didn't believe you to begin with. It was only when I googled to double check that I actually went, oh wait, you guys are right. So I thank you very much, Brian Wong, for telling me that. And I shall see you guys in the next episode. Like I say, leave your comments down below. This is Jinley Kerman, signing off. Stay classy. And I just messed up my intro. This is Jinley Kerman signing off. Stay classy.